Solar Bright Green Greg here, and today I'm going to talk about Enphase batteries. I'm going to review the new IQ Battery 5P versus the IQ Battery 10T. On the Enphase 5P, I'm going to talk about the specs, the advantages, the frequently asked questions, and things you need to know. So let's get right to it. So let's start with the Enphase battery specs. The IQ 5P, the capacity is 5 kilowatt hours versus 10T, 10 kilowatt hours. The peak power output of the 5P is 7.68 kVA for 3 seconds and 6.14 kVA for 10 seconds versus the 10T, which is 5.7 kVA for 10 seconds. So as you can see here, even though the 5P is half the capacity, it has higher peak power output. Now, if we used 2 of these 5P batteries, we'd have double this numbers. Okay? The continuous power output for both batteries is 3.84 kVA. And again, if we had 2 5P batteries, you would be able to double that number. So what this means is you'd be able to run more items and more power-hungry items with the IQ 5P. Okay? Now, both battery systems are AC coupled. Both of them have round-trip efficiencies of 90%. The dimensions of the 5P are 21.7 inches wide versus 50 inches wide for the 10T. So a narrower battery is an advantage when we're trying to work around things like a meter or a window or some other obstacle. Okay? The smaller size allows us to best utilize the wall space. Okay? Now on the weight side, the 5P is less than half the weight of the 10T. Battery chemistry, so both batteries are cobalt-free lithium iron phosphate. This, by the way, is a preferred chemistry because it does not have thermal runaway, or in other words, overheating, like some other battery chemistries. And those other battery chemistries, when they do have thermal runaway, they get too hot, they could possibly cause a fire. So this is a safer chemistry, and a lot of the newer batteries now are LFP. The communication for the 5P is wired versus the 10T, which is wireless. Now you would think the wireless would be an advantage. However, in-field experience tells me that the wireless sometimes actually causes problems. So sometimes you're just in a bad area with interference, or the different components cannot go together on the same wall, and so you end up with having communication problems. So a wired communication is actually highly preferred. As far as mounting, the 5P can be floor or wall mount. The 10T is wall mount only. Both batteries have mobile app control. Both batteries have storm guard. Both batteries have generator support. However, the 5P has some added generator integrations, which I'll talk about a bit later. Both batteries have a 15-year warranty. Now, by the way, the 10T used to be a 10-year warranty. However, any battery commissioned after July 1st, 2023 now has a 15-year warranty. So before I continue, hey, if you found this information helpful, hey, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so I can bring you more of this helpful information. And also, it lets YouTube know that this content is valuable and shows it to more homeowners like you, so I can help them also. Thank you so much. Let's continue. So one of the advantages of the 5P is it has 6 micro inverters. Now, the inverters take the power from AC to DC to charge the battery, and vice versa to take the power out of the battery. Now, most other systems have only one inverter. And so what can happen is if that one inverter goes bad, the whole system is down. Okay? with the Enphase, because we have 6 inverters, if one of those inverters stop working, the rest of the system will continue to work. Okay, so some redundancy there in reliability with having multiple microinverters. The Enphase 5P battery is also field serviceable. So let's just say, for instance, if one of those microinverters fails, well, the other 5 microinverters will continue to work. And when you have a service call, the technician will come out and evaluate the system, and let's just say, again, it's a failed microinverter. The battery system will stay on your wall, will continue to work, and when that part comes in, the technician can come back and replace just that part. Now, most other battery systems, the whole unit has to come off your wall, has to be shipped back to the manufacturer, and you have to wait for a replacement unit and then an appointment for the installer to come back and reinstall the battery system. And so, of course, the problem is while you're waiting through that whole process, you might be without a battery system for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, who knows? And it defeats the whole purpose of having a battery, right? Because you want reliability, you want resiliency. That's why you've got a battery. So it's very smart that this system is field serviceable. The 5P also has wired commissioning. Like I mentioned earlier, a wired system is actually preferred because sometimes you might be at a job site where there's interference or not very good signal, and sometimes all the components cannot go on one wall. And sometimes we have a battery, for instance, on an opposite wall of a brick wall. The communication signal doesn't go through that wall very well. Okay, so that's why it's better off to actually have a wired system and not a wireless. It improves reliability and less problems, less service calls. The 5P, you can also get a pedestal mount just in case for some reason you do not have enough wall space or for some reason don't want to use the wall space. The pedestal mount is available. Here's the other thing about the 5P. It's 5 kW blocks. So you can build this tailored to the size of your electrical needs. Some of the other manufacturers have 10 kilowatt hour batteries. And so the problem is if you only need, say, 15 kilowatt hours, well, you're going to buy 20 kilowatt hours of battery even though you only need 15, right? So it's a waste of money. So this is more efficient and more scalable and tailored to your needs. And here are some examples of some Enphase 5P battery installations. As you can see, it fits in a variety of different spaces and areas and situations. There is also available from Enphase a system controller that includes a power control system. So often what happens, especially in some older homes or homes that are not all electric, is the main panel cannot handle the desired solar system size and battery system size that's needed to cover your electric use. And the problem is it costs thousands of dollars to upgrade that main panel and sometimes can get very complicated. So to avoid those thousands of dollars of cost, what Enphase has is a system controller with this power control system built in, and it regulates how much electric is fed to and from your main panel. And so that way that main panel is never overloaded beyond its rating. And by the way, this is set up by the solar installer. And also, we can have a backup panel with other loads, and those don't have to involve the main panel. So again, so this way you can properly size the battery system and the solar system tailored to your electric use and not be limited by the main circuit panel. So again, very smart engineering here by Enphase. So here's a comparison of the 5P versus 10T as far as battery capacity. And what you'll see here is power-wise, the orange bar is continuous power. You'll see that 2 of the 5P batteries, even though it's 10 kilowatt hours, just like the 10T, the 5Ps have higher continuous power, which means you can run more things on your battery. Also, you notice the green bar, which is the peak power, it's higher output with the 5Ps. Again, even though both configurations are 10 kilowatt hours, the 5P has higher peak power output. So this will allow you to run more power-hungry items that need a surge of power, such as air conditioning, water pumps, that sort of stuff. So homeowners often ask, can you run an air conditioner with Enphase IQ Battery 5P? And they also ask me, hey, what about the IQ 5P battery versus the Tesla Powerwall? Well, first of all, by the way, I have actually done a video about the Tesla Powerwall. I'll leave a link at the end. I think it's a very fine battery, but we do like to compare things. And you'll notice here on the left bar chart here, 3 of the 5P batteries is 15 kilowatt hours versus 2 Powerwalls at 27 kilowatt hours. And by the way, the Powerwall comes in 13.5 kilowatt hour configurations. They don't sell a smaller battery, so that's why we had to have 2, and that's how we got 27 kilowatt hours. But what you'll notice is, even though the Enphase battery on the left, it's smaller battery capacity, but it has higher continuous power. You could draw more power out of a smaller battery with Enphase. And so this could mean that you'll end up with a lower cost overall to have battery backup. And then if you look at the peak power output, which is the green bars, again, even though the Enphase has smaller battery capacity, it actually has higher peak power to run power-hungry things like an air conditioner or heat pump. Now, my chart here on the right, you'll notice here, with a 3-ton air conditioner, you know, if you got roughly a 10 kilowatt hour battery or so, you can run a 3-ton pretty easily, provided it's a modern, efficient air conditioner or heat pump. But when we get to a 4-ton or 5-ton, you would need about 3 of the 5Ps, 15 kilowatt hour of batteries, or 2 of the Powerwalls at 27 kilowatt hour of batteries. And so, you know, the problem here though is you're buying more battery than you need just to meet that surge of power to run that air conditioner or heat pump. So you can run a smaller battery with Enphase and still get more power surge to run an air conditioner or heat pump. Now, of course, this is a generality. I would suggest you actually have a local solar installer, look at the spec ratings of your air conditioner or heat pump, and then determine, you know, what batteries you need, because it can vary by brand and efficiency of the air conditioner or heat pump. Enphase also has generator support. So let's say, hey, the sun is up, the solar's charging your battery, great. Oops, okay, the power is going out. Now your battery's running the items in your home. But oops, your battery gets too low. Now your generator can kick in and charge both the battery and run items in your home. And you don't have to listen to a loud generator all night. So Enphase is the only system I know of where you can actually have a backup generator, both charge your battery as well as run items in your home. All other systems I know of, you either run the battery or the generator. And it may not seem like a big deal, but hey, when it's nighttime and you're just trying to get some peace and quiet and sleep, you don't want to hear a generator running all night long, right? And so that's what's so great about this generator support option. And by the way, it works with most major brands of generators, and Enphase has a list. Enphase also has a load controller, so you never know how long a power outage will last, right? And so initially, you might be using your battery to run everything, your pool pump, your electric vehicle, your air conditioner, and everything else. But let's just say, oops, your battery is starting to run low. Well, now you can shut off the pool pump. You can shut off the electric vehicle, the air conditioner if need be, and run everything else. And so you can do all this without having to run, you know, all the way to the circuit box and turn breakers off. And so it's just very smart management of your battery. Enphase also has sunlight jumpstart. So in a typical AC coupled systems, a battery, when it goes down to about 20%, that battery is going to shut off. However, it's in standby mode and it's going to keep on checking to see if the power grid has gone up or if the solar panels are active, can generate power and charge up the battery. So it's on standby mode. So when it's on standby mode for a very long time, it can go all the way down to 2%. And at that point, we call it low state of charge, and the battery will actually shut off to prevent damage to the battery. And so it can't use the solar panels to charge the battery because the solar system itself takes a little bit of power to turn on to do electric production. So what will happen is when you're at 2%, is either you have to wait for the electric company to come back on up, or if you have a generator, charge up the battery with a generator. You can't use the solar panels when you're at 2%. However, Enphase is different. If you have the IQ8, and you must have the IQ8 or any version thereof, it forms a microgrid, and it can actually generate electric without having to use the battery for electric and charge up that battery. Okay, so again, it's a bit of reliability, resiliency, but you have to have the IQ8 microinverter. So what's so great about the Enphase system, though, is you actually have an app that manages your whole home energy system. This app here on the top right, it has solar panel monitoring all the way down to the individual panels. So you know that each and every panel is working to its optimum. And if some solar panels are shaded, it'll still optimize the maximum power of the solar panels that are not shaded. And also, you're able to tell if, for instance, a tree branch is shading some solar panels, and you might want to trim that branch. But also, if you have an Enphase battery, if you have a generator, if you have an Enphase EV charger, all those items can also be managed from this one app. And I just think it's convenient to have everything in one app. It's just a lot easier. So in conclusion, the 5P battery, they're 5 kilowatt hour battery systems. Has double the peak and continuous power of most other batteries. So you can start larger appliances and run more items. It's got a 15-year warranty and 6,000 cycles, which is more than most other manufacturers. It's got wired communication for improved reliability. And I can't emphasize this enough. The higher peak power will allow you to run air conditioners, pumps, etc. that require a big surge of electric to get going. Some of the other batteries on the market cannot do this, but the 5P can. And again, I would say, talk to a local solar installer so you can see what equipment you're trying to run, what air conditioner or heat pump you're trying to run, and they'll size the battery system appropriately. So let's talk about some frequently asked questions. Can you have an Enphase IQ Battery 5P and 10T on the same solar system? The answer to that question is no, because the 5P has a different communication system. Okay? If you have the 10T, just add more 10T batteries, that's fine. And the 10T is a fine battery, although the 5P is an improvement. So if I was doing a new system, I would look at the 5P, but the 10T is absolutely fine for legacy systems. Will Enphase continue to manufacture the 10T? Yes, and it's going to be their lower price line. So it's going to be a lower price than the 5P. What is the warranty on the 5P and 10T? Both batteries are now 15 years and 6,000 cycles for any system activated after July 1st, 2023. What is the life of the Enphase IQ battery? I don't know, but based on this above warranty, That tells me that Enphase thinks they'll last at least 15 years or 6,000 cycles. Otherwise, they would not offer this warranty. But a lot of it's going to depend on the charge and discharge and the environment it's in. What microinverters are compatible with Enphase IQ 5P? Any IQ micros and any M micros are compatible. Is Enphase 5P compatible with three-phase? No, it's single or split phase only. Enphase is working on a three-phase model, but no announcements or dates yet. They did just recently come out with a IQ8 microinverter that's three-phase, so hoping that this battery will follow soon. Is Enphase IQ Battery 5P or Tesla Powerwall better? Well, I have actually done a video on the Tesla Powerwall. I'll leave a link at the end. It's a very fine battery, but of course we do like to compare. And there's no one size fits all. Everybody has a different amount of electric use and their home is different, right? So you'd have to consult a local solar contractor, but here's a few bullet points. The Enphase does have higher peak power. The Enphase has generator integration. The Enphase has 15 years warranty versus Powerwall's 10-year warranty. Enphase has sunlight jumpstart. Enphase has microinverters used with IQ batteries for more electric on partially shaded rooftops and individual panel monitoring. So those advantages of Enphase. Tesla, depending on the situation, they may come in at a lower price for the same battery capacity. And Tesla Powerwall 3 has a hybrid inverter, and that's more efficiency. So again, there's always pluses and minuses to everything, and that's why I say there's no one size fits all. So I would, get your electric use, show it to a local solar installer, let them do a site survey, and recommend the appropriate batteries. Solar by Green Greg here, and on this channel we cover home solar PV, solar pool heating, and energy efficiency. And I do it all without any sales talk. I'm a homeowner just like you, and I know what it's like. Sometimes you're just trying to do some troubleshooting or, get information, and you don't want bull talk, right? You just want straight information. If that's you, hey, you're in the right spot. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button. And here's the next video.